Today we'll be looking at a very vital topic, something that I know many of us will find interesting. Last week we gave us something that has to do with social anomalies, attached to things like pedophilia and its impact on society, the LGBTQ and everything. But today we will go down a bit to look at the trend of pornography and its side effects on the society, especially in the place of the sexual orientation and behaviors of people in our society. If you are very observant, you will discover that these days it's hard to just touch anything and not see porn. And a lot of things is happening even in the dating pool and in relationships and marriages today. And many are pointing at pornography as one of the causative agents to many of those things. Today to discuss with us, we have a social commentator with us in the studio. She's a businesswoman here in the person of Adenike. Abisola, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And it's nice having you around with us and all that to discuss.
I feel honored to be here.
Yeah. So let me just ask, now this conversation might be very uncomfortable to many of us actually, because we all don't like to say some things, but let me just ask a question. If by any means have you had an encounter with, it's weird, but have you ever had an encounter with pornography actually all through life? Or can I ask that? Maybe have you ever been in a situation where you were addicted to it for a time or any time?
Well, I have never been in any such kind of situation, but I think it's a particular kind of behavior that is common among youth, not in Nigeria alone, all around the world.
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult to abate such behavior simply because it's being promoted worldwide.
Everywhere.
And you can't touch your phone, this is your smartphone, because that's where people get access to it. You can't get to touch it this day without having a glimpse of pornography. Probably via social media or search engines.
Search engines, yeah.
Yeah, generally. So you see something coming up, popping up. So if by choice you are not seeing it, by chance it will come up. So we should talk about that.
If not by choice, you will see it by chance, actually, and all that. Now, we are seeing a kind of society where many people are having meltdowns and all. But let's look at pornography generally as a whole unit and the idea behind pornography. If you look at those that actually create it, they say they are only trying to expose, especially majorly supposedly at the initials, supposed to be for married couples, to expose them to sexual patterns, making them try new things to spice things up in relationship. But now something that is supposed to be in the room, a bedroom affair, is something that even kids are having access to it, to a point that, like you rightly said, search engines are giving its notifications to us. Even to download, for someone like me, I just want to download film gently, and the next thing I begin to see, it just pops up. And I'll be like, what's this one again? And sometimes for kids who are not, or even not even kids anymore, teenagers, we are seeing them, out of curiosity, the next thing they click, and then they are exposed to something they are not exposed to. But what's your take on pornography itself as a thing, as an industry and a body that people are patronizing these days?
Well, according to research, maybe I should give that disclaimer now. Majority of what I'll be saying here today is based on research.
Based on research, yeah.
Yeah. So according to research, I've seen that pornography dates back to like 40 millennials away. That's about 40,000 years
ago.
Back. So it's not something that is new. It's not something we're just experiencing. It's been there for a while now. Back then, I guess it started with the Germans. They had artifacts that had all these drawings, carvings, and that has to do with pornographic
content,
content. Then it started growing in time. Then in the early 2000s, we saw that it became a thing that companies, movie production companies, had to delve into because they believe that it brings back revenue that
high revenue to them.
Yeah, to the country. And I thought this is not something that should be accepted in the society. But for the fact that they saw a positive side to it, they saw a positive aspect to it, I think that's the major reason why porn is accepted in the first place, because it is something that should not be seen by children. And we have children everywhere. We have children everywhere. We are saying children, we are talking about children between ages 0 to 18. A child who is not 18 is considered a minor.
Yeah.
Right? So if a minor who already has access to phone, because I believe these days parents give their children phones starting from the age of, in fact, let me say 5, 6.
5, 6, yeah.
They're already having access to cellular tabs and all of that. Some have smartphones. Some even use iPhones that I've never used.
Yeah,
That I've never used before.
All of them on cartoon at first too.
Yeah, it starts from the place of cartoon. I want to watch Moana. I want to watch this and that. Then it boils down to, okay, I have to be on TikTok, mommy. I have to be on Instagram. And then it boils down to, okay, you can now use the Google search engine by yourself now. Since you have to do assignments, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then when they are delving into this thing, you see all these videos coming up. Even if they are not checking it by themselves, probably based on restrictions, because I know of parents who restrict their children's access on their mobile phones. But even if they are not able to see it through their own phone, they have friends outside who have access
To such things.
And I believe every day when we go to church, in one way or the other, they will teach us about marriage. And when they are doing that, it boils down to keeping the marriage bed undefiled. And when they are teaching us that as well, they will also teach us about not practicing, sex outside marriage or any form of immoralities at that, and pornography comes up. Some churches don't want to talk about it because they feel it's too wild to be spoken about.
To the ears of the child.
To the ears of the congregation. And congregations might include a child, a teenager, a youth, adults. So, but these days, I think church is beginning to develop that spiritual and mental capacity to give this information to the church. This is what is going on in our society. And if we are not talking about it, the world will tell you about it.
If you are not talking about it,
the world will tell you about it.
And that's one thing. I wanted to even look at the psychological aspect of it first, but I think one scary part came up, which I think I would like to touch, because even though I want to just go into sexual orientations and the sexual behavior of people, I think we have to address two sensitive matters here. The first place is a point you raised, which is very vital, the place of parenting, children having access to it, the fact that people have access to smartphones, because I think that access to smartphones is something uncontrolled. Recently, I saw reports on social media that some countries across the world, Australia specifically, Finland, and many of the likes, even Japan, South Korea, are restricting phones from children to teenagers upward. And by the time they restricted it, it improved their academical performances, it improved their mental capacity, and a lot of things like that. But here in an actual African home today, if I'm a father, I have a daughter right now, and sometimes when I'm on my phone, I see my daughter dragging my phone with me. And many of the times, many of the contents that are popping up, because one, I will even address the place of the media later on, but let's talk about parenting. Many of the contents popping up, maybe I'm on the X app, which is porn friendly, because there are some applications that are porn friendly. Maybe I'm on the X app, like what they call Twitter, or maybe I'm on Facebook, I'm on TikTok. Sometimes we don't want to catch cruise, but when you are trying to scroll, there are some videos you still scroll on and you see the person on nakedness and all that. And I'm like, and someone said that in Yoruba, a phone for money, that is buy a phone for your child. And I'm like, this one, even if I have billions in my account, I won't buy a phone for her till she's maybe 15, 16, so that at least she can have the mental capacity to make use of it, because we know the addictive part of it. But the next thing you begin to hear from them, they will begin to term you. Alaroro niyin. Momo told you, like what the Yoruba will tell you, that you are stingy, you don't know how to take care of a child. That it does not mean she will learn robotics, she will learn this. And I know in the actual sense they don't have the capacity to, unless they are forced. And we are in a situation where most parents don't have time for children. We are hustling. Everybody is looking for money. So they are all. So I don't understand. Do you think the place of phones should be taken off from children totally, and maybe other what do they call it, alternatives be given to them to ensure that at least even all the other things they are supposed to be doing, they can be checking it through it because of the danger of them accessing pornographic contents?
All right, thank you. When we are talking about parenting and the use of mobile phones, I think these days, let me put it at this, like one of my aunties usually say, parenting has failed. These days parenting has failed. And why am I saying this? You see a child of 10, 15 years, just as I said earlier on, using phones that even those in the working class are unable to afford. So where is the pride in the fact that your child is using a phone yet he has nothing in his brain? Where is the pride in the fact that your child is using that very exotic or very expensive phone, and then you're asking him, can you just add this simple mathematics question, or can you solve this simple equation, and then he or she is unable to give you answers? So why are you sending such child to a school? Parents these days, they find it difficult to, to bring themselves back to the olden days method of training children. They believe the time is changing, so we have to change with times. And when we are trying to change with times, this truly is computer generation, computer world, computer era, whereby a child of 5, 10 years old is already in knowledge of technology. Okay, mommy, I want to learn coding, I want to learn this, I want to learn that, I want to be a gamer, I want to
Python
produce
and
games.
all those kind of things.
Yeah. Then they will begin to remind you. I have some friends that sell NFTs. They have NFT collections, this and that. They are selling, they are making money. Ask your child. Put one toy and another toy together. Try to make them move. Will the child be able to do it?
To even confirm if they are actually
even confirm if they actually have an understanding of what they are saying. So most times these days, the children just hear what is going on in the environment. They hear, okay, this is what is going on. My friend is doing this, my friend is, and they want to be a partaker. But you know your child's capacity.
Definitely.
You know your child's capacity. So you should be able to tell, okay, this is the extent to which my child can go. If the child necessarily needs a phone at that moment, you should be able to tell. I don't see what a child of 10, 15 years old is doing with a phone. They tell you, I want to search for something online because I want to do my homework. Your parents can equally search for you and give you the answers. And if they are not going to do that, there are children in the, should I say village now?
Yes.
Who do not have access to phone, yet they are striving academically.
And they are even doing way better.
And they are doing way better.
Way better.
When you go to check common entrance results, check what is it called now? Interviews that these children do, just get to see their results. You see that children that are coming from the village have better grades than them. Those ones that are right in the city using big and expensive phones. So if a parent is unable to control or bring himself to say, okay, this is my stance, this is what I'm standing on, this is what I want for my family, then you get to be controlled by what is going on in the society. Then that parent can never succeed in bringing up the child. Because it is no longer the parents bringing up the child, it is society bringing up the child for him or her.
And the society is highly uncontrolled, as we speak.
Is highly uncontrolled.
So now moving on to the cultural influence, how do you see the relationship between pornography consumption and shift in societal norms around sexuality and relationship?
Oh, well, I was waiting for that. When we are talking about the cultural norms, we are talking about the society. When we are talking about sex, sex is not something I would just have stood outside and opened my mouth to say openly. people will look at me like,
What are
wait,
you
is this
saying?
girl for real? Like, is this woman for what is she really saying? Like, I still find it difficult now to stand in front of probably my Sunday school students in church and use some certain words in their presence, because I feel they are too strong, or should I use the word absurd now in what is it called now?
Accepting short statements.
Yes. In a Christian gathering, in a spiritual gathering. And aside from spiritual or Christian gathering, now I'm coming to the society at large.
Yeah.
The elders will look at you like, this is a corrupt child and he or she did not come from a good home.
Definitely, because that's the
mentality. That's how we were brought up. I don't know how this, okay, we are talking about Gen Zs now.
Yeah, Gen Z baddies.
The Gen Z baddies. The Gen Z generation. I am not a Gen Z, so I might not be able to relate to what they are doing now, but then we are seeing it. When we're talking about pornography eats deep into people's life. They refuse to see the evil in it. They refuse to see the evil in it, because this is when you see a child who is beginning to withdraw himself or herself from socializing with his or her peers. You can't go to the party with your friends. You can't go out on assignment with your friends. You can't do this, you can't do that. Begin to suspect that child. In fact, as a parent, you should begin to keep such child's door opened.
So you can know what they do in the secret.
Yes.
Yes.
And now coming to young adults, the way we view sex these days, I feel is strongly motivated by pornography. Men, women want to have sex without marriage. They want to have sex without commitment. They want to have sex with no love. They want to have sex and do all sort of nasty things that are unheard of. I discovered that when young guys or girls go into relationship these days, as much as we are hearing that people are getting married, we are also hearing of people chopping breakfast.
Yeah, sure.
The breakfast syndrome is
it's on the rise.
It gets to everybody, though.
It's on the rise. It's on the rise. You see someone that will tell you, I want to be in a relationship with you. You are not expressing the feeling that, oh, I love you or anything like, as such as that. You don't even know the person's parent or family member.
Oh.
And the next thing you want to do is to have sex.
And they'll say, we are just having fun.
Cruise. That's the word. That's the term.
Cruise.
We are catching cruise. That's the term. So according to our culture, according to the society, a child who is sexually active, probably at the wrong age or even at the right age, without going through marriage, they still see such child as a terrible child that lacks proper upbringing. And the place of pornography does not see that. Now let's take it for instance now. It's said that pornography releases dopamine to people.
Dopamine, yeah. That addiction.
And when you begin to have that feel-good feeling, you begin to have that motivation, because dopamine gives you motivation to keep going back to pornography. A lot of things you will learn from pornography, you now begin to see it as a place for sex education. Oh, my friend said, when he was with his girlfriend, this was what was going on. I mean that I don't even have experience now. What should I do? Then the next thing you do is to
look for experience.
Look for experience. So tell me, how will such person not expose himself or herself to pornography? Pornography these days will help a child to say that, okay, if relationship is not working, and I can equally be at home myself and get sexual gratification. By
just playing with myself.
Yes. And that is why it is important for parents. I keep hammering this. parenting is very important if we don't want the pollution of pornography in our society. Good parenting. Good parenting. But even at the long run, we might still have good parents and bad children.
Exactly.
Can we really have that? You know why? I want. I think I want to base. I like the fact that you took it from sexual or cultural norms, like she asked, because I remember 2017, 2018, January 2018, specifically. I just came to Ondo newly as a core member, and I was working with my friend. I've lived all my life in Lagos. I used to tell people Lagos could be quite terrible when it comes to sexual orientation. But the area I lived in Lagos, we still have this mentality that there are some things you don't do on the outside. As much as we know ourselves, that we do some things behind.
Yeah.
We know we don't come to the open, like you said initially. In the first time I ever said anything that has to, just a joke, a sexual joke on the open, it wasn't my parents that beat me. It was my neighbors that beat me. So by the time you are getting, I was even begging them, Kuku kill me, so that you will not tell my parents what I did. Because if what I did got to my own mom, well, to God be the glory, great things he had done. That's the end of it all. And I was just, particular about it. So we already had that orientation that on the road, whatever, you just go in the secret, don't come to the road. Then I was just walking down a street in Ondo that day, and I saw a girl of 14, 15. And the first thing I heard the girl sing was a very raunchy song. I will still enter the place of music, songs, content we see on social media, content we see on television and all that. And the girl sang very raunchy song. If many of us knew people like Scalimental from way back.
Yeah.
So there was a part of the song that exposed the sexual, and the girl sang it on the outside, and her friend said something like, "You want to go and receive the sex for the night," in Yoruba. I don't want to say the Yoruba part. The Yoruba part is more in the open. And the next thing, I was irritated from my ears. Me and my friend is from Kwara, is a guy. So of us just looked back with utmost disbelief. And when we looked back, they were both laughing and playing, and we saw elders seated around them, and all of them too were smiling. I just did like, smile? In Lagos, I'll be running, because I know one person, even if he's drinking at the moment, he will use bottles. So I discovered that the cultural norms and orientation shifts. But now you said something which is vital. We can have good parents, bad children. How possible? How do you, what metric do we use to term someone a good parent? Because I think the last time I checked, they said it's from the fruits we know the tree. How then will the tree be different from the fruit? Let's hear from your perspective.
Okay, like an apostle usually says, I think Apostle Femi Lazarus now. It says that it's possible for the fruit to fall far from the tree.
Really?
So there's a possibility that the fruit will actually fall far from the tree. And you cannot vomit what you've not ingested. You can't vomit what you've not ingested. But there are situations whereby what the world did not give to you, you will vomit it.
Okay, that's new.
Okay, and that is where I have children who are terrible while their parents are struggling. Now we've heard of pastors, if I am right. We've heard of pastors.
Even imams and our fathers.
Yeah.
I'm
going to say this now because I'm a Christian.
Okay.
We've heard of pastors who, despite all the work they do for their children, and even the sheep they shepherd, they still turn out having terrible children.
Wow. Well, I think I have experiences with that too.
And these are men and women of God. And I think the major reason why this is happening is because when parents are not educating the children on what they are supposed to know, they will get the education from outside.
Yes.
So you feel parents should give the children this first sex education?
Yes.
Okay.
Education. That is what we need. I've seen, I think last year or so, I heard books were released and sent to primary schools about sex education. that children should read. Those children are too small. They are minors. They shouldn't be exposed to things like that. But their parents can actually do that work at home.
So that the parents first, before
the world. And the world, I'm generalizing, school,
media,
friends, social media,
government,
peer, government, whatever it is in general. So if a parent is able to call a child, my child, these are your organs and this is what they are meant for. Please do not allow anybody to touch this part. Touching this part is bad touch. It's just as simple as that. The children should be able to know the difference between good touch and bad touch. When you touch a child in the wrong place, the child will report to you. Children are innocent, they don't tell lies. Except they are facing a situation whereby they are being threatened. And that brings us to another
level of I think
level entirely.
That one will be another discussion of another day.
Of another day.
Though I think my parents, some of our parents did sexual orientation for us actually, but it was kind of more of lies than truth.
Yes.
But they'll tell you if a lady just moves there and look at you like this, she's already
You just get
pregnant.
pregnant.
So the next thing I do is once I see lady looking, I'll do
You close your eyes.
and all that. But then when we discovered it was a lie, we became more.
But at what age did you discover it?
actually works. It works.
At what age did you discover?
I won't want to expose many things on here, but I
you
think
didn't discover early and that helped you a lot.
no, I discovered early.
You did?
I did because I really had.
Oh, you see the situation whereby the world is teaching.
I really had bad neighbors actually. Honestly, let's be truthful.
You see?
For someone like me, the first pornography I will ever watch in my life, I watched from a neighbor's place. Not because I wanted to watch from the neighbor's place. The neighbor happens to just put. He was with his friends in the house, their girlfriends, all of them together, and they put the television screen and they were all watching pornography on the television screen, and they opened their curtain and window. So we that were passing by,
That wants to peep.
innocently,
Remember I said something that even if you are not watching by choice,
Yeah.
we are watching by chance.
you will watch by
So
chance.
some of us came by chance, so we knew way early. But then another thing entirely just affected the trajectory. But we'll get there. We have been discussing about the trend of pornography and how it has affected the sexual orientation and sexual behavior of people in this generation. I think I would like to go into another question, Abisola, which has to do with an issue of sexual orientation. In Nigeria today, we have more people coming out, though some still secretly, some openly, talking about the fact that they feel they have more affiliations to people of their same sex, like gays, lesbianism. It never used to be like that in the Nigerian territory before, but we're having more of it today. We're having more people that, I think I have more people now. I know more people now due to just the familiarities and all that are what they call bi-curious. They want to test something new. I was with someone who had with a psychologist, and was dealing with a friend who has strong addictions to pornography. And we began to dig down to the person, we began to discover that this particular person did not stop at just watching heterosexual pornography. The satisfaction left, and wanted to, you always want more. It's like being in the desert and you're looking for water in the desert. Just kept going further and further. To a point he was exposed to a lot, and it's affected his mind to a point that he began to have new sexual orientations. And I don't know, from your own perspective, how much do you think pornography has contributed to this, what people still term in the Nigerian, though in the Western world they feel it's just a normal thing, even though some in the conservative part of the Western world are already forming a defense against it. What do you think, how much do you think pornography has contributed to such kind of sexual orientation in our society?
If I am going to talk about this, I would say it's basically no pornography.
Okay, it's new.
It's basically no pornography. For some, it might occur that during the course of their alignment with pornography, it began to happen that way for them. But some, take for instance, let's use this popular guy now as an example. What's it called? Bobrisky.
Bobrisky, yeah.
Yeah. I won't be able to say this guy decided to sit down one day and say, okay, I want to become a woman because he or she has watched pornography. No.
That's valid.
No. There was a point in time where I met this guy, though we didn't have a one-on-one conversation, but I saw his general behavior. I saw the way he behaved, the way he comported himself or herself or she-self. I don't know the term to use.
I was only about telling you that you using this guy, you should not go Australia and tell Tani bro.
If she, oh, okay, if she.
Oh, let's say she's a she.
Okay, she's a she.
Or is a she. Let's leave it at she's a she.
All right, and I discovered it's basically not because of pornography or whatever it is now. It just had this paradigm shift. Let me put it at that. Okay, I just feel I'm no longer satisfied with the state of mind I'm carrying. It has to do with the psychology. It has to do with the mindset. Where is your frame of mind right now? What am I able to? You know, human beings are complex.
Very complex people.
And they are capable of just bringing up ideas that nobody had ever thought of. That's why you see they say, oh, these people has this initiative and is bringing it out. They can initiate an idea, bring it to play, bring it to fruition in their mind, even without executing it yet. But in the case of this guy that I'm talking about, Shiman, that I'm talking about now,
the pronouns, I think she says she, they.
She, him, they, she. So in his own case, he probably might have been affected by his environment, his form of education, poverty.
Okay, that's also very valid. So.
Yes. So a lot of things could have pushed him, could have pushed him to bring himself to the state whereby, oh, I don't want to behave like a man again. Now I think I should start behaving like a woman.
Maybe that will even bring funds. And it's worked. It brought real funds for him.
And it worked for him, though there are people now who are not coming out in the open to say that, okay, I am this, because they don't have the kind of guts he has.
Yes.
But then deep within them, they are still struggling. Pornography might play a part in it, but I don't think it's playing a major it's playing a major part. I don't think it's the major factor in sexual orientation.
But looking at it too as well, someone talked about, this one just came like a boom. We were just having a conversation like this. In fact, it was part of the reasons why I said I would like to discuss this issue. He talked about this thing called spec.
Okay.
Spec. Everybody has spec. You know, there are many songs that expose us to this word called spec. They'll tell you, for some guys, they'll use terminologies like, I want someone that has, you know, a big frontal area, or let's call it the way it is, breasts. And,
body shape in general.
Body shapes in general, and all that. And some will say, I prefer the slim. Some will say, according to my sexual orientation, aside from even specs, some even have, last week when we were discussing with our psychologist, he was talking about the fact that even things like voyeurism, exhibitionism, you see people that also have things like, I forgot the major terminology he used, but you see things like BDSM, like bondage and all that. That's where they derive their own satisfaction from.
Yeah.
We used to never find it amongst us, but now it's more exposed. You begin to find people that, even oral sex, what people term as oral sex, before is what we thought, you can't even mention it to our ears. We look, what kind of rubbish and nonsense is that? But this day, especially among the Gen Z, you find it to be the fulcrum of their orientation. I even asked a lady one time, this your spec that you're talking about, where did you get it from? this, and the guy, we were just all discussing because he said maybe it could be something. You know, the psychologists will say that they call something continuous deposition.
Okay.
What you see all the time becomes what you are transformed into.
Yes.
The way they put it.
Psychological tolerance.
Psychological tolerance and all those kind of things that get to your mind is what you. Maybe that's why many of our artists these days, our musical artists, they have this kind of trend to want to have this. They call them sex symbols. You understand? So that people can. The kind of lady I want is someone like this. The kind of guy I want is someone like this. I don't know. Do you think pornography has contributions to this kind of things?
I think I 100% agree with this one now.
Okay.
Pornography has to do with it. And when we are even talking about pornography, it simply does not have to do with the special website created for it. Pornography can pop up even in the movies we watch.
Definitely. That's true.
Even in the movies we watch. And these days, it's so hard to find a movie whereby they are not depicting a love scene that has to do with sex. Even our common Yoruba movies.
We can't even call it love again. Eros.
Yes, Eros. So it's becoming a norm in the society for a movie to contain stuff like that. I think I was watching one yesterday.
So we might not even call the name.
Let me try to remember now. They were using terms like throuple, RM, and I had to go back to my dictionary to find what does this mean.
New words.
Yes. These are terms that our Gen Zs find easy to use these days because they are now evolving.
Yeah, evolving into something.
They are evolving into some dramatic monsters I don't understand. So if we are talking about body shape and spec, there are several celebrities who will tell you this is my selling point. And then you see the issue of BBL coming up.
Yeah, that's the trend of the day. Everybody wants to
get BBL.
They want to do yash and breast so that they can have more clients and OS.
I want a flat tummy, I want big curves, and I want a big front. Look at me, I'm a woman. I don't necessarily need all that. I will still be called a woman. You are a man. You don't need all that.
We don't even have any surgery that we want to do now.
You will still be called a man. You don't have any surgery that you can do.
We should want to have to even increase about my body now. Nothing. No. I'm just a man.
They actually have surgery.
Okay, but
surgery like which surgery do you know that man do?
Their chest.
Now we're talking about transgender.
They actually worked on that.
Some people work on their chest. Like,
transgender.
I can't do transgender. Why? I love women. Why should I change my
mind? Men can still go under the knife for things like that. So it's not basically women alone now. When it comes to this body type and spec.
Yeah, women have their own part. Men have
their own part to play. You see a guy telling you, if the girl does not have big bum bum, I cannot date her. Or if the boy does not have
broad shoulder,
or masculine looking macho, I can't date him. And in fact, I've even had a friend. This is funny, but I think I will say this. Who once said, I can measure up a man by the size of his shoe. And I said,
how?
What are you trying to insinuate? What does that even mean?
That's new wisdom.
So you see, these days, a lot of things are just coming out. They are coming out, and we just need to be aware of all these things. Body type is probably affected by pornography. Having a body type, having a class, having a spec really has to do with pornography. Because tell me, if you want to marry a woman, yes, the beauty is necessary.
Definitely.
But is the body going to bring anything to
the body will not even train the child self.
Is it going to bring anything to the table?
The body will not bring wisdom.
Is it going to bring anything to the table? But the fact that some men are addicted to pornography, they'll be like, oh, I'm not seeing this in my wife. Maybe I can get a satisfaction while watching pornography.
Or maybe a side chick.
Or maybe let me find a side chick who has all these qualities.
Married and searching.
Yeah, man, yes. who carry all these qualities, and then, or you see a woman who say, it's not just cutting it for me. Maybe I will need to start checking up guys elsewhere. So this body type can actually be affected.
You know, you said something now about the part of the women talking about maybe it's not just cutting the edge for me, and you know, someone had the conversation too as well. I don't know. I already say that this conversation might be a bit uncomfortable, but we just have to say it the way it is. You know, she was talking to a sex therapist on social media. I was watching the conversation, and we were talking about this issue of quick ejaculation, how long people last on, you know, their whole thing. And she was saying that according to the point she was, you know, she wants someone that will go 1 hour, at least 1 hour 30 minutes. And I don't know. I just told my friend behind. Is it an Olympic competition or what? Are we, you know, trying to stress ourselves or all that? Even the pornography you guys watch, many of the time, I'm a videographer too as well. And as a videographer, I know that they cuts. You even see those things when happening, that they cut, they restarted again. They cut. Sometimes cut happens, and during the place of cut, they might not do all the thing you watch for 1 hour now. The person that did all the whole thing might not have done it for over an hour. No, he will rest, he will relax, he will come back again. So I don't know, this heightened expectations from each other. And the sex therapist said something. He said, what people don't know is everything is enough unless it's being compared. It's comparison that makes us not appreciate what we have. I think that I just wanted to just chip that in a bit, to just bring it a bit. So I don't know, I'm just saying it because of somebody out there. Like, it's comparison. And he said something. He said, until we go back to a time where virginity becomes a virtue again, we won't appreciate the bond called marriage, to a point that learning to satisfy each other, because now our views are being exposed to a lot of things. And he said something that even down to our social system is not helping, especially the media. It's sad I'm in the media, because looking at the kind of content that is promoted now to people and everything, and the fact that the fulcrum of everything we see on social media now is just about sex, satisfaction. Nowadays we're having people that they've had sex with multiple partners, and they are not still satisfied. Pornography has its role to play in all this kind of thing, the sexual behaviors we're having out there. Do you think, and you know, one of the things that I affected was I met a guy, not even just a guy, I have friends, guys, ladies who are extremely addicted to it. Today they are not married. Some are married, and even though I don't think I should say this here, but we know some doings that's happening in the other side of it, because of the fact that despite the fact that they are in the institution, they are doing one or two things or the other. Today, if you go on social media, out of every 10 relationship stories you're listening to, you hear that of infidelity, you hear that of paternal fraud. Paternal fraud now, it's the pata of them all, because someone even made a statement that even in some states in Nigeria, if they decide to make DNA tests free, a lot of marriages will actually crumble. But how do you think, from your perception, we can control things like this in society and bring us back to sanity? To sanity.
First things first, we need education. That's the first thing. We need education that there are adverse effects to pornography. There are actually adverse effects to it. Aside the adverse effect to it, there are chances, though not up to 50%, but there are chances that pornography can hurt or can cause a whole lot of damage to a union, if not at the present, in the long run. Take for instance the situation of this man that was posted on X few weeks or months ago.
The Lord Bishop himself, Egonga.
Yes, about 1,000 watts.
Battles Egonga.
Yeah. Now look at him, he's a married man. He's a married man. Yet he still involved himself, he allowed himself to be indulged in all those kind of things. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8. Now look at the situation where he has placed all the women
They had
the whole relationship. And these women are not just single women.
They're
They are married
women.
ones.
Important personalities.
Personalities. So we need to go back to the drawing board. We need education. Sex is not sport. It's not sport. Yes, it brings this kind of bond or feeling of mutuality and happiness between a man and woman that is married. But then that is not the sole essence of marriage. That is not the sole essence of marriage. Remove sex. What else can you bring into your marriage?
Or can you even bring to the table?
Remove sex. Let's uplift sex from it. Sex is just like a spice on top of food. It's just like an icing on top of cake. You can as well as eat the cake without the icing.
Definitely. Definitely. No, maybe not that sweet, but definitely you can.
You can. At least in the food, once there's salt, you should be fine.
Yeah, definitely.
What is the need for curry pepper thyme inside Indomie?
Actually, not
When you already have the
When you already have the spice inside. Your wife is a woman. Your husband is a man. God has created them completely in their own form. We need to be educated on this. This should be enough. And that is why it's not only education now. Churches also need to rise up to these cases. You see a man and woman are coming for counseling, they want to get married. And you want to ensure that their union lasts long. You are not asking the necessary questions.
You play around on it.
You should be able to tell if they are compatible. And of course it is true that these days people don't want to divulge information to their pastors or to whatever spiritual leader they have for 1 or 2 reasons. Notwithstanding, a bit of information to a spiritual leader will still save you from some stress.
Even an elder, even a
Or
psychologist,
an elder
or someone that is of experience.
will save you from some stress. So that's another aspect to it. The church needs to work on that. Education is important based on that. Then psychologically, if we are seeing that the person is tending towards a pornographic lifestyle, such person needs therapy. And such person needs to come to an agreement that this is where my life is heading to. First, agree, then seek help. I think it's the place of agreement where people are having issues now.
Yeah, at least accepting you have a problem.
Accept you have a problem. It's not like you're watching pornography every day and then you say almost everybody do it.
Yeah, that's the norm today. A large norm today. And it's to name me, all of us are doing it. I think it's making us undermine our problems.
Yes. And then I've been in a situation whereby I was speaking to some teenagers, and then one of them answered me. My sister said, if my daddy and my mommy do not have sex, how would they give birth to me? So I now asked her, have you now gotten married? Are you your daddy and your mommy?
That you want to now have children now.
That you want to have children.
The economy will make you have sex.
And when they had sex, they had you. What is your own sex giving you? At least you are a value added to their life. When people see them now, they call them Baba Bom Pikin or Mama Pikin. But what is your own sex going to add to your life? What value? So in the place of marriage these days, people are not satisfied simply because they've delved into the unnecessary. They've delved into the unnecessary. And only God can help us.
Only God.
Only God. So the first is get educated. Second, seek elderly help or advice.
Psychological, yeah.
Seek psychological advice. Then if you see that it's beyond control, let a therapy attend to you, or therapist attend to you rather.
But let me ask you a very vital question. Do you think someone addicted to pornography is a potential partner one should, look at as maybe my wife or my husband in future terms?
Yes, if the person is willing to change.
The willingness to change.
There is that part of willingness. And for the person to be willing to change, the person must be admitting to you that he or she is addicted to it. Because the partner might not even be aware of it. And they don't write this thing on the forehead. You won't see a person and say, oh, this person is addicted to pornography. How will you know? No.
By the eyes and the lenses of...
or by their height you shall know them, or by their growth you shall know them, or by their faces you shall know them. No. It's not written on the forehead. So if such person, but that's where courtship plays a part in marriage.
Do we still do much of courtship these days, actually? Because I think many marriages...
People don't court these days.
Many marriages these days is I'm pregnant, let's go.
Yes. And what brings about the pregnancy is this place of sex. Sex before marriage. That's what brings about it. You say, okay, we're adults. Okay, there's this term used for it. It's consensual.
Consensual.
It's consensual.
Consensual.
So nothing will happen after all.
We are both adults now.
We are both adults. Yes, it's consensual and you've agreed to get married, but do you actually know the in-depth of sexuality of the person you are getting married to? Can you tell? Can you measure?
Surely there are sexual behaviors and sexual characters and sexual orientations.
Can you measure? So there should be a place of measurement to it. This is the level to which this person stops. I can tell, okay, when it's time to put a stop to it, this person can stop. This person can self-control. But if all these are not taken into consideration, and then you just up and decide, she just likes it. I think there's a name for it, nymphomania.
Nymphomaniac?
Yes.
Nymphomaniac.
She just likes it, so he just likes it. It's not bad for me. Yeah.
You will get tired soon. It's a matter of time.
I've seen a situation whereby people get tired of marriage because a partner likes sex excessively.
More than the other.
More than the other.
I would have liked to ask something about sexual compatibility, but then I think our time is fast spent. I'm already getting alerts from the studio that our time is actually fast spent. So I think I'll just spend the whole story that has to do with sexual compatibility. I'll just spend it aside for another time when we might also visit this kind of topic again. I think it's high time we just progress to the next segment and the next package that we have for everyone today on Daybreak Africa. But first, I would like to thank you for this very productive discussion. I really appreciated everything you brought to play. I think one of the things that is my highlight is that as parents, we need more work to do. I like the fact that you were able to talk about the fact that we need more education. We need to seek help from elders. We need to seek psychological help. We need therapy, because we all must agree to the fact that pornography has harsh side effects on us in the society. Thanks so much again, Abisola, Adenike, for this. Really appreciate you. This is what we can all take on Daybreak Africa. I'm sure you had a great time. I did have a great time, especially on our discussions with Abisola, Adenike. I'm sure you had a great time.
Yeah, sure I did.
Yeah, sure I did. That's how everybody's preparing for the weekend, actually. But then it's time to say our goodbyes. We'll meet on Monday again. I'm going to miss you guys, actually. Have fun as much as I'm going to have fun as well. But then, till we meet next time, my name is Ikhonede Joshua Odeji.
I am Ogbe Esther. Bye.
Bye.